Topping today's news, police investigating another homicide, this time in the Redland Acres community. The Deputy Prime Minister gives an update on proposals to repair the Grand Bahama International Airport. 7 people seriously injured in a traffic accident on Exuma on Monday. Bahamas Union of Teachers holding off on their industrial action, and the Royal Bahamas Defense Force intercepts another migrant vessel with more than 100 people on board. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jareno Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. Thanks for joining us. Police are investigating a double shooting incident resulting in the country's 91st homicide. A 42-year-old male of Redland Acres, the second killing in less than 24 hours. Police say the shooting incident reportedly occurred shortly before 9 p.m. on Monday on Shah's Drive off Sumner Street. The other man, the intended target, was left with injuries to his legs. Preliminary reports reveal that the deceased was outside a residence on Shah's Drive when he was shot multiple times by a male armed with a handgun who actually was in pursuit of the second male that was shot. The victim was taken to hospital in a private vehicle where he succumbed to his injuries. This incident follows a shooting incident on Sunday night that resulted in the death of a 22-year-old male after 2 gunmen opened fire indiscriminately on a group of people at a baby shower on Stack Avenue in Nassau Village. Police are aggressively investigating this latest killing and are appealing to members of the public who may have information that can assist the police to contact the Criminal Investigation Department. While not being able to give an exact figure, 3 proposals ranging from $50 million to $150 million are on the table for the rebuilding of the Grand Bahama International Airport, or the GBIA. This according to Minister of Tourism, Aviation and Investments, Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper. Mr. Cooper, speaking with reporters just before the weekly cabinet meeting, adds that the new board of directors for the Freeport Airport Development Company, or FAD, already has some designs for the new airport in review.
It was important for us that we comprise a board of local professionals. So we are delighted to have Ms. Tira Raming as chairman. She is a chartered accountant and has significant experience in business and finance. We have businessmen, attorneys, engineers comprising the board. And we are very pleased that we were able to find this level of expertise on the ground in Grand Bahama.
With the board of directors recently announced, Deputy Prime Minister Cooper says their first official meeting will be held in September. He says the board's mandate will be to provide oversight to the management of the airport in its current state and oversee the redevelopment and transition to a world-class facility.
It's important for the residents, it's important for tourists, and it's important for the industrial sector and the development of business generally for Grand Bahama. This board is going to lead that process. They're going to participate in the evaluation of the shortlisted candidates for the PPP, and they will ensure management oversight, including of the provision of new services. For example, the extending of the operating hours of the airport. This is one of the first things that I've asked them to look at.
Speaking on the development of the new Grand Bahama International Airport, the Tourism and Aviation Minister says it is important that the new airport is a world-class gateway that people of Grand Bahama, or the people of Grand Bahama, can be proud of.
We have some designs. This board will opine, do analysis, and this process will be refined in the short term. Suffice to say, at the end of the day, we will have a facility that is resilient, that is adequate for the needs of Grand Bahama, and that will inspire the type of confidence with the Americans so that we can get pre-clearance back to Grand Bahama.
Mr. Cooper says he empathizes with Grand Bahamians, noting that the island has been through a great deal. He said that over the last year, since coming to office, the government has made significant strides as far as preliminary and temporary adjustments to the airport, though there is much work left to be done. 7 people were seriously injured in a traffic accident on Exuma on Monday night, 5 Americans and 2 Bahamians. The accident, according to the Exuma Police Department, occurred shortly after 8 p.m. in the area of Flamingo Bay and involved a white SD Wrangler Jeep and a white flatbed truck. Preliminary reports reveal that the white Wrangler Jeep, occupied by 5 Americans, was traveling east on Queens Highway, while the white flatbed truck, occupied by the 2 Bahamians, was traveling west on Queens Highway when the 2 vehicles collided. The male driver and female passenger of the flatbed were extricated from the vehicle and transported to the Exuma healthcare facility along with the 5 Americans, where they were listed in serious condition. Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper, who was also the Member of Parliament for Exuma, which has had more than its fair share of mishaps so far this year, informed the media this morning that all 7 of the victims were airlifted to the capital around 11:30 p.m. on Monday evening, where they are receiving further medical treatment. Police on Exuma are currently continuing their investigation. Meanwhile, 2 American vacationers on Eleuthera were arrested for possession of a quantity of suspected marijuana. Police say the 29-year-old male and the 24-year-old female, both of New York City, were arrested shortly after 3 p.m. on Monday in the Princess Key area. Active police investigations continue there as well. As schools are on track to reopen this coming Monday, August 29th, Education Minister Glenys Hannah Martin says, considering the recent drownings that occurred over the summer holiday, provisions are being made to incorporate swimming lessons for government school students.
Yeah, well, swimming is going to be introduced in the physical education program. We anticipate in this academic year, the school year, that we are going to have a enhanced physical education curriculum, which will include swimming. Most of the schools don't have swimming pools, so there are some logistics about how to manage this across the board with schools nationwide. However, we are now developing a program to begin to introduce swimming into the schools. It's a skill, and really all of us should be able to swim in the Bahamas, but certainly the new generation emerging should be able to.
The Education Minister acknowledging the deficiencies faced in the previous school year, specifically the Ministry of Education's Execution Management System, or EMS, and the Learning Management System, LMS, platforms. She made certain those matters have been addressed and are under control.
That I know it's not been easy. This has been a very difficult time. I know you've been concerned about your children, particularly where there's been fall off from the internet in terms of the programs online on the LMS, and so I know you've had concerns, but we are partners with you. We will work with you. We will ensure that your children through the system will get the best opportunity possible that we are able to offer them. So I think that this is a new day. The pandemic is still with us, but it's allowing for us to now get back to some level of normalcy, and we hope to see that in the classrooms. We want our young people to do well. We want them to excel, and we will work with parents and with all stakeholders to ensure that the young people of this nation have the best chance possible.
Meanwhile, teachers across the Bahamas stood down their intended industrial action that was slated to take place on the teachers' first day back to campus, which was on Monday. The Bahamas Union of Teachers, the BUT President, Belinda Wilson, earlier this month called on union members to strike on August 22nd, as the union had grievances over the finalization of its new industrial agreement. Union members had agreed unanimously to strike. However, late Sunday night, Mrs. Wilson revealed to the teachers in a voice note that having been at the negotiation table with the government last Thursday for nearly 8 hours, progress was made. She noted that a decision was made to forego the planned strike.
We are reviewing the final draft of our full industrial agreement, and we are completing a few details and should be completed by tomorrow with a view to signing a new industrial agreement for all of the members of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, from Grand Bahama to Inagua. We expect to sign in short order. So tomorrow, Monday, August the 22nd, 2022. As you return to your various schools from Grand Bahama to Inagua, don't worry about the industrial agreement.
Education Minister Glenys Hannah Martin, responding to the Bahamas Union of Teachers' decision to forego industrial action, gave reporters her position on the matter.
I am very pleased that teachers will be in the classroom today, that next week the children of this nation will return to school fully face-to-face, and we can begin to stabilize education in this country.
With negotiations between the Bahamas Union of Teachers and the government taking nearly 3 years to finalize, asked why it took so long, Mrs. Hannah Martin says she was not involved in the initial negotiations and maintains the focus should be on advancing the educational system.
I don't know, I've not been here 3 years, so I don't know the dynamics of what has happened in the years prior. I know that the negotiations have been ongoing, that at least 2 other unions have completed their negotiations, so I don't know what has led to the prolonged one in the BUT in particular. But the bottom line is that the whole purpose of what we all are doing is to advance education in the Bahamas. So whatever we do to get there should be done expeditiously, but I certainly don't know what the dynamics were in the negotiations over the period of years.
Again, the public school teachers returned to their assigned schools on Monday. They returned to their assigned schools on Monday, with students expected to return to the classroom on August 29th. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.